you know you make me float. Boy, you really give me high. Ooh, I feel like I'm on dope. 'Cause you.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. And in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about the time my so-called friend had scammed me. So let's get into this video. So this all started back when I was in high school, and for context, this friend, we're going to give him a fake name. I don't even remember what his real name is because honestly I tried to block him out as much as possible after the situation. So with that being said, we're gonna call him Brian. So Brian, like I said, me and him had went to high school together, but I had already knew Brian way before high school because growing up we went to the same church. Keep that in mind. So with that being said, I knew him, or at least I knew of him, because although yes we went to the same church for years, we didn't talk at church. Like, we just never talked at church. I don't know why, but we always seen each other around. So with that being said, once we got to high school, specifically junior year, because that's when he started going to school with me, and I noticed like, oh, we go to school together and our lockers is really close. I would always talk to him, vice versa, he would always talk to me, right? So anyways, with that being said, our junior year's gone by and this man was never at school. Like, y'all, when I say this man was never at school, this man was never at school, okay? So anyways, randomly he just stopped showing up to school and I stopped seeing him at all. So I just kind of assumed maybe he had transferred or something. And it's, you know, the topic of somebody dropping out was foreign to me because yes, I've heard of people dropping out in high school, but I had not known anybody personally to do that. So that thought didn't even cross my mind. I just thought, like I said, he maybe transferred schools, and he was already not a good texter. Like, sometimes we get on the phone or whatever, but like I said, when it came to texting, he was trash anyways. So I didn't really expect to hear from him again. So then fast forward to the end of the summer, right? I'm at the mall, and I don't remember what I was at the mall for. I used to always just take the bus to the mall all the time when I was in high school, like especially that summer going into my senior year of high school, just because my old movie theater before the pandemic hit, they used to do this deal where if you came before 5 p.m. of course you could do matinee, which is $5, and then after that your ticket was $7 after 5 p.m. and it didn't matter if, you know, the showing was at like 5:30 but you came at like 4:30, you still had to pay that $7 because technically the showing ain't until after 5. So, you know, I used to hit up the mall to go to the movies all the time. Like, something that I would always do is typically I would go and either eat at the Chick-fil-A at the mall before I would go to the movies, or I would, you know, make me a little sandwich and I would sneak it in my purse and bring a little bag of chips and a drink, and I would just eat it in the movies because I used to go so much that the employees would never check like my bags because, like I said, I used to go there all the time. So 9 times out of 10 I was probably at the mall because I was at like the movies or something, but at the same time I used to just also just go to the mall just for the sake of like shopping or even like walking around, because like I said, if I used to be bored I would hop on that bus and I'm going to the mall. So back to the story, I'm leaving the mall and I see old boy with somebody else, and they walk in like to go inside the mall as I'm, you know, heading out, and I'm like, oh, like, Brian, I ain't seen you in forever, like where the heck you been at, like what the heck? And he quickly explained to me how he ended up getting really sick and he had missed so much school that the school had told him basically you need to do a program so that way you can graduate early because boy, you're messing up, you're not doing great. And so that's what he did. He ended up just doing like finishing school online over the summer and stuff, and he graduated early. So I was like, oh cool, like oh my gosh. So then we ended up parting ways, but before we parted ways we exchanged numbers, right? And so anyways, one thing about Brian, he, like I said, we used to go to church together, so he always had this persona of that he was just a very godly man. And I say godly because I just feel like if you was really living the godly word and living the truth of what he speaks, you would not have done this to no dang body. That's just me, but you know, who am I to judge? Anyways, so like I said, we exchanged numbers, and like I said, one thing about Brian, I always had a crush on him like, you know, once we became friends in high school. I didn't really look at him like that when we was younger, but I don't know, he got like a lot cuter once we got to high school. So I always had a little crush on him, but I had never, like, you know, said nothing, right? So anyways, we texting and whatnot, and at this point he had told me, like, you know, how his life had changed so much since, you know, leaving school, because like I said, he ended up getting sick, and then he had ended up having to graduate early because, of course, like I said, he had to do online school. And during that time he was telling me how him and his mom kept getting into it, and eventually she ended up kicking him out. But he was just like, allegedly, I say allegedly because this man was just lying, okay? Allegedly, there's a program where, like, the government, like, if your parents kick you out, the government will give you like a stipend to, you know, find somewhere to stay, and like they'll pay like half of the like rent or whatever, and then you just pay the rest. So anyways, he was telling me how he had like 3 other roommates, and that's what he did, right? So one day I took a Uber to his house, y'all. Mind you, I'm a senior at this time. I don't got no car, and where he moved at was like 30 plus minutes away, like a good 35 minutes away. And I took a Uber to go see him because also he didn't have no car. So anyway, I go see him, and we didn't do nothing. We just was laid up talking and chilling. The only thing we actually did do was kiss. And so anyways, of course, I'm feeling myself and I'm feeling giggly, this. So then after that, I go home, and later on that night, he was like, oh, he was telling me how he had started this job, which he had been telling me how he had started the job like a few days prior or whatever, and he was finally getting his first paycheck. And so he was telling me how, oh, you know, I just opened this bank account, but I don't have a card yet to go take the check and to go get it deposited. And me being a stupid kid, I'm going to say that I was being a stupid kid because I don't know what the heck I was thinking in this moment. And I'm going to say it's due to me being naive and just partially being dumb as heck, because I didn't know that at the time that even if you make a bank account and you don't have the physical card on you, as long as you show like some type of ID or whatever, you can then deposit the money or whatever into your account. And granted, at that time I didn't even have no dang ID. I think I had maybe like a school ID, and I didn't have no permit, no driver's license, so no nothing. So even if I wanted to do something like that, I wasn't gonna be able to have no evidence to prove I'm who I am, okay? So when he was telling me that, I didn't question it, and he was like, oh, like, you know, do you think, you know, I can deposit my checks into your account? And I was just like, oh, like, you know, I'll think about it, whatever. So then the next day he asked me like, hey, like, have you thought about it? And I had told him like, okay, so like actually I don't feel comfortable doing it, like I don't want to do it, right? And at this point I'm at school, and I'm asking my friends in my class, like, you know, should I do it? Like, and they're like, no, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of having a weird feeling, but at the same time, this is my friend, so, you know, I don't, like, why would I think they gonna do me wrong? So anyways, he gonna say, well, I'm already on the way to the school, like, in an Uber. I was hoping that you would just say yes. And I'm like, bro, like, what the heck? Like, that's crazy for you to just like assume and jump ahead of the gun and just do something like that. So then, of course, me being dumb and me not just standing on business like, well, you might as well turn around and go back home, I just was like, okay, like, well, let me know when you get here or whatever. And so then he finally ended up coming to my school, and I ended up giving him my debit card, right? And he went to go deposit the checks and cash it out, because like I said, all he wanted to do was deposit it and then cash out the money. So anyways, he goes and does that, and I'm waiting on him to bring me my card when I realized, mind you, at the time I had $60 in my account. And I only remember that because it was so vivid. I would just remember everything about this story except this boy name, which is crazy. But anyways, I had $60 in my account at the time, and I don't know what I was trying to do, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna like buy something to eat, I think, but let me check my account, because at that time I didn't have a job. I just was like, you know, getting money from my mom because she didn't allow me to work during the school year. So I checked my account and I see that thing says 0. And also too, I think I had got an email because at that time with Bank of America, anytime my account was under $25, it would send me a email. So I'm like, let me check my account because I'm trying to get me something to eat. So why my account under $25? So I go and check and see it's at 0. Okay, so I'm over there like, what the heck? I'm about to start sharing bricks. And I tell this nigga, where the heck is my money? Like, why would you take out my money? You know that $60 is not your dang money. You knew how much you got on that check. You should have took out exactly what you needed to get from that check. And in my head, I was thinking like, there was no reason for you to even take the $60 because when you go cash the money, you just could put a certain amount that you want to get cashed out. So like, what the heck is going on? Like, why are you taking my money? So then he over here gonna text me, oh, it's just a little $60. Like, why are you tripping? Like, it's just $60. And I was just like, I don't care if it was $1 or $60, it's still my money. So with that being said, who said that you could just take my money? Like, that was so entitled of him to even think that, and then have the nerve to tell me like, it's just $60. Like, yeah, it is just $60, but it's my $60. Like, that's the difference, Bookie. You had an extra $60. You had what you had. So anyway, he put the money back in my account, and he finally come over to my house to drop off my car. So we talking for a little bit when I had to tell him like, okay, well, you gotta go because my mama gonna come soon. So anyways, he go about his business, I go about my business, and I go chill for the rest of the night, y'all. But oh my gosh, when I wake up the next day, I wake up to an email saying that, again, my account is under $25. And I'm like, why the heck is my account under $25? Like, I have $60 in my account. When I go to check my account and see, y'all, that it is negative $200. So now I'm like, what the heck? I'm shitting bricks, y'all. Like, oh my gosh, I'm literally about to pass out. So I immediately start calling the bank. I'm trying to figure out like, what the heck? Like, how did this happen? Like, what is going on? I'm over here blowing up this boy's phone. He not answering. Granted, it was like here, and I'm realizing that the video had got cut off. So what I was just saying that is, at the time I was blowing up his phone, but he wasn't answering because he usually worked the night shift and he didn't wake up early in the morning. So that's why he wasn't answering the first few times I had called him. But once he finally answered, I started to explain to him that the checks that he deposited in my account had somehow bounced and they took the money back. So we need to figure something out to do. But yeah, let's get back into the story time. I hope y'all enjoy. He took the money back and now my account is a negative $200. So what's tea? What are we gonna do? Because I need my money back. So anyways, I'm over here like, okay, I need to figure out a plan. And that's when I said, okay, I'm gonna go skip school and I'm gonna take an Uber to the bank because I need to figure this out. So I immediately called my ride because at the time, my childhood best friend's mom used to take me and her little brother to school. So I call her, I'm like, hey, I ain't gonna be able to like come with y'all this morning. Like, don't worry about me. I ain't coming to school. I'm not coming to school today, okay? She was like, okay, cool, that's fine, whatever. So I go and I take my little Uber to the bank and I explain to them what happened, right? And they was like, well, because you gave him your PIN and whatever, it's your fault, so you just got to pay the money back. So I'm over here shitting bricks, y'all. Mind you, because I was a minor, my mom had to come with me and help me like open the bank account. So she had like access to my account. She could see, all my transaction, how much money I had, whatever. So I knew that it was just a matter of time when she was going to see my account because, like I said, our accounts is linked. And anytime I got an email saying my account was under $25, she got an email, okay? So I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do. So then I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go drop my homework off. And then I'm just going to go home and just chill for the rest of the day because in my head I was just like, it can't get no worse than this. I'm already not having a good day. Like, I'm not gonna be at school. Like, I'm not going to school. So I drop off my homework and I get my homework for that day and I just explain to them like I had something that I had to go handle with family, whatever. So then I go home and I'm just chilling for a few hours and I call my sister and I explain to her the whole situation, like from beginning to the end, and she's like in shock. like, so she's like, you know, what are you gonna do? Like, what are you gonna tell mommy? This. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna tell her because I don't know how to explain this situation to her. So then I'm sitting there watching a movie. I'll never forget it. I was watching that movie with Amanda Bynes, and it's the remake of Snow White. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like something white. Like, that's all I remember. Anyways, I remember I watched that movie for the first time, and I'm just sitting here thinking about how I should have listened to my friends when they told me, no, don't help him, like, don't do it, whatever. So then I decided, okay, well, let me go take a nap, whatever, because I'm not about to keep stressing myself about this. So I go take a nap, and I wake up to my mom. Like, I had like 2 or 3 missed calls and a whole bunch of texts, and my mom is like, answer this dang phone, this, why is your account negative $200, this. So I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, like, it's already starting. And so I'm like scared. And I remember it was funny because right when I woke up, my sister just happened to call me and was like, hey, mommy's mad as heck. Like, she called me going off, and you need to answer your phone because she's trying to figure out like why you're not responding, and you know what happened to your account. And she was just like, you know, I feel like it's better for you to explain it to her, because she was like, I can't fully explain it because she's like, it didn't happen to me, so maybe I might trip up over some details. So I said, okay, cool. So then later on that day, my mom finally come home from work, so I already knew it was gonna be a wrath, a terror. So I already mentally prepared myself. I locked myself in my bedroom, and it was funny because as soon as she got home, she immediately came upstairs and knocked at my door and was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm doing homework. And she was like, where that phone at? I was like, oh, it's on my dresser. The whole time it was right next to me. But I knew if I said next to me, she was going to be like, give me that phone. So then she was like, okay, cool. Well, you know me and you need to talk, because why your account is in a negative 200. So I go and I explain to her what happened. So she said, okay, cool. Well, tomorrow we go into the bank and try to see if we can solve this. And I explained to her, like, girl, I already tried to solve it. They told me it's nothing we could do. She said, I don't want to hear that. We go into the bank because I need them to tell me that out their mouth that there's nothing we can do. So the next day after school, we go to the bank, and the same man that had helped me the day before, he was there, and he was like, oh, hey friend, like, nice to see you again. I didn't expect to see you that like quick after yesterday. And so he was talking to my mom, and she was just like, okay, like, I need to know what happened, like, what can we do? And he explained to her what I just told y'all about, how because I willingly had gave him my PIN, there was nothing that they could do about it. They was like, it would have been different if the card was stolen and whatnot, because at that point it's like, okay, well then yeah, we'll give you your money back. But they was like, you know, like, it's on you, it's your fault. And I was just so devastated. And over time, my mom had to slowly pay me back because he had deposited 3 checks in total. I didn't know that at the time because, like I said, he was like, oh, I just started this job, whatever, like, I just got my first check. But it turns out he had deposited a total of 3 checks, and the minimum of each check was about $200, whereas like the most on one check was like $350. And they was like, because unfortunately, you know, it was fraudulent and it's making your account go in negatives, they was like, it's gonna be in waves of, this was the first wave where it took the random $200. He was like, I don't know when the next wave is, but he was like, expect your account to again go in the negative 200s, maybe, depending on, you know, how much you have in your account and whatnot. And he was just like, again, there's nothing we can do about that because of this situation. He was like, so just remember that that is because of this. And I was like, okay, I understand. And y'all, literally 2 more times after that, literally it happened again, where, like I said, my account was in a negative whatever, and my mom had to help me like get myself out, because like I said, at the time I was a senior, and during the school year she didn't let me work. I could only work over the summer. And so I was like, okay, well, I don't really have another way to, like, you know, pay this off unless my mom does it. So she ended up paying it off and helping me with that. And I still think about this situation to this day because it got me in so much trouble that I literally remember, like, I had my mom buy me Drake tickets for my birthday that year because I had turned like 17, and for my 17th birthday, like I said, I wanted to see Drake in concert. So that was the only thing that I got for my birthday, because them tickets was expensive, y'all. And mind you, my birthday in the summertime, and the concert was in like the beginning of November, late October. And so I was really hyped. I was really patient about this concert. And like I said, when I got in all that trouble, my dad tried to get my mom to take the tickets away and not let me go. And I remember I told my mom, I said, if you don't let me go to this concert, I'm never talking to you again. And I mean that with my whole chest. And I really meant that, because I was like, you're gonna be that petty and messy over this situation. Like, I understand I made a mistake, but dang, okay. But yeah, that was a crazy story time about how a so-called friend scammed me, y'all. But anyways, with that being said, like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. I hope to see y'all again soon. Bye.